Hey everyone! Today I'm sharing with you this gluten-free angel food cake that breaks all the rules and defies all the odds. It's light as air, fluffy, soft, and perfectly sweet on its own, but it can also be used in so many applications. So let's get into it and I'll show you just how easy it is to make an angel food cake from scratch. Okay, the first rule we're going to break in the angel food cake recipe rule book is we're going to put all of our sugar into the mixing bowl at once. And we're also going to pour on top of that all of our cold egg whites. Normally in an angel food cake recipe, it's room temperature egg whites, and you slowly stream in the sugar a little bit at a time. Now this recipe comes from Stella Parks, who is a pastry chef who really knows the science of why things work, and she explains in detail of why she decided to break the angel food cake rules, and I'll leave a link for that article below. So I'm using my own angel food cake recipe using her method, and let me tell you, it works like a charm. So we start out on low, just whipping up the egg whites and the sugar until they kind of incorporate, and then we bump it up to medium, which is about 4 on a KitchenAid stand mixer, and we go for 3 minutes. And this is what it looks like at 3 minutes. It's frothy, it's kind of lighter in color and more opaque. And then we'll go ahead and add in our flavorings and the other add-ins. This is vanilla bean paste. You can also use just straight up pure vanilla extract. And I'm also adding in some almond extract. I like that almond flavor. You can leave it out. And this is a little bit of cream of tartar and some fine salt. Make sure your salt is fine so it gets well incorporated in there. I would not use kosher salt in this instance. So once we've added those in, now we crank it up to 8 on the KitchenAid, which is pretty high, and we let it go for another 2 to 4 minutes or so. And this will depend on when it really reaches soft peaks. You don't want to go to stiff peaks. Although with this recipe, I bet you could, and it would just be fine because it is that much of a foolproof recipe. So I'm stopping it now, and this looks a little under whipped for me. I want it just a little bit more, so I'm going to go for maybe about 1 more minute and I'll check again. And you kind of want it to like pile up on itself, almost like soft serve, but not hold a complete stiff peak where the peak of the tines of the whisk totally like stands up completely straight. And this is what I want. So this is perfect. I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to go ahead and sift my dry ingredients together. And by the way, this is another one of those rules to break. I'm using my gluten-free all-purpose flour blend, and I'm adding cornstarch to it, and I'm sifting it just once. A lot of other recipes tell you to sift like 3, 4, maybe 5 times. This is just a one and done thing. So easy peasy again. So once we get that in the bowl, here's another rule to break. And that is we just dumped the entire amount of the flour mixture in at once, and now we're folding it in. This is not typical, again, of an angel food cake recipe. Normally you add a little bit at a time, fold it in, a little bit more, fold it in. Half the time you sift it over, all that stuff, but we're skipping all of that today. So we're just breaking all the rules left and right, and I'm telling you, this will come out perfect. Now we can pour it into our ungreased tube pan. It has to be ungreased so that the egg whites, as they bake, they can rise up and cling on to the sides and the middle. Now I'm just taking a butter knife and going through, running it through the entire batter to remove any of those extra large pockets of air so we don't have large holes in our cake after it's done baking. So now I'm going to take my spatula and just level it a little bit on top. You don't have to do this. I just like to have it start out a little more level. And we're going to bake this at 350 Fahrenheit for 45 to 50 minutes, or until a long skewer inserted into the center comes out clean, or an instant read thermometer registers at 206 Fahrenheit, which is my preferred way to do it because it ensures that it's completely done. If it's not completely done, it will fall out of the pan. Ask me how I know this. So we flip it over onto its feet. If your pan doesn't have feet, just use the neck of a bottle and let it cool completely upside down. Okay, this one has cooled completely, so I'm going to flip it over, and it looks perfect. It feels great. So now I'm going to take a butter knife and just go around the sides, pushing against the side mainly so we can remove this easily. These loose bottom pans are really great for getting the cake out of the pan. I remember years ago, before they invented these things, that we would have a tough time getting it out. So now you should be able to just lift the center out and up. And then what I like to do is just take that very same butter knife and loosen it around the middle and on the bottom. Then I just take my hands and I lift the whole thing up because it is so light, and then just transfer it to my serving platter. And there you have it. You could also flip it out the other way and have a more flat top, but I think this is rustic and it's perfect. So now I just take a serrated knife so it doesn't compress it, and just cut the slices, and look at this, how plush and soft it is. Oh my goodness. It is divine just as it is, maybe served with some berries or maybe some sweetened whipped cream, but I really just like it by itself. However, I do have a recipe coming up for how to use this in a trifle, so I hope you get a chance to make it. Enjoy!